Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe in a little bit of a different locale this morning. I've been up since roughly 4 a.m. I couldn't sleep and decided to watch Chuck Conry's newest Blu-ray release, which is Morbid. So if you don't know Chuck, he runs a great YouTube channel called Zombies Don't Run, and he has a website where he does reviews called zombiesdon'trun.net. Chuck and I have been buddies for a few years on Facebook and YouTube, and I had about a year ago watched and reviewed a copy of his film Door 1 of the 5 Doors to Hell. He was very kind and sent me a digital copy. I hope eventually to get a Blu-ray of it as well, but he, as I said, more recently put out Morbid on Blu-ray, which is his first film. And Chuck is a micro-budget writer, director. He does these really small indie features. This is a BDR, so it's a Blu-ray that he, I guess, had burnt, or the company he uses had burnt themselves. It doesn't have like a Amazon or full-fledged release, so to speak. So Chuck was very kind enough to sign this for me. I had a Blu-ray he wanted, so I mailed it to him, and I asked him if he would mail me a copy of this, and he did. So it was a great trade. So Morbid is a movie about this small town, which is one of the reasons I really like Chuck's films. Him being a micro, writer, director, and using a tiny budget, I think he pulls a lot off for such a small budget. Usually micro-budget directors are filming movies and doing all the work for a few $100s in total. So I feel he has a lot of heart. He always really puts in a lot and makes the movies fun. So the thing about it being a small town is I'm really not from a small town. Being in New York, there's tons of people here and all different kinds of people. So I like when I watch Chuck's films that it has this small town feeling, where I feel like around here it doesn't have that. So he gets that from his locale that I enjoy watching, because I don't really experience that much. The movie is about this killer who wears this smiley face weird mask, sort of reminiscent of Deckard from Nightbreed. It sort of reminded me a little bit of that. And he's going around this small town murdering people at this party. He's killing these guys that are watching horror movies and talking about Halloween and Black Christmas. He attacks the woman at the news station who's reporting on the murders. And it's just kind of, low budget murders, low budget practical effects, which I enjoy practical effects way more than CG. Where he's stabbing people and there's like crazy amounts of blood, and at one point someone gets their member cut off. I don't want to spoil too much, and it just squirts all over the woman's face, the blood. It's a fun little micro-budget film. I would say I probably, just a little bit, prefer Door 1 of the 5 Doors to Hell. I like the anthology feeling on that one, because each little snippet felt different. The only thing I didn't really like about this film was, and I'm going to be honest and critical as well as tell you how much I do like it, is there's a lot of like news sequences and sort of filler of like a news report happening, or them talking about the local football player who's famous and everyone loves him, and it just seemed like a lot of like little snippets of this news station called Grundy Network, or Grundy Nation Network, and I felt like there's a little too much of that. A little too much like filler with these like talking segments. There was a video of one of the guys who's in Door 1 of the 5 Doors to Hell, who does a rap video, and he's like rapping and singing in the woods, and I kind of wasn't into that, but I did enjoy the killer. I did enjoy the humor of it. Chuck has a little cameo in it where he gets killed, so I always enjoy seeing that. And I think for a low-budget film, having this like murderer go around and kill people, it was fun. You have to understand what you're getting into. You're not getting into an A-rated horror film, and you're not getting even into like a B-rated horror film with a big budget that, is just lower quality. You're getting into a film where this guy is making it in his local town for, a few $100, hiring his friends, and just having a good time. And if you go into it expecting that, I think you'll get a pretty fun film. I think if you go into it with your expectations extremely high, you'll probably be let down, because that's not the type of films these are. Morbid runs, I think it's an hour and a half roughly, 89 minutes, so right there. It has two versions of the movie on this Blu-ray, the director's cut and the Grindhouse cut, along with a commentary track on both versions and trailers for the Grundy Nation Films, which I believe Chuck is either the owner of or maybe the co-owner of when he releases his movies. I didn't watch the Grindhouse cut. I watched the director's cut, which is what I usually go for. Let me read the back of the box just in case you want a little more information on the film itself. There's been a double murder in a small southern town, but the only thing anyone cares about is the big football game and the state title they're going to win, with their star quarterback Skywalker leading the team. With a vicious killer terrorizing teens all across town, and the sheriff too busy getting drunk and giving TV interviews. Yeah, the sheriff talked a lot. He tended to ramble on, which I thought during the interviews were the part I really didn't like. Is there anyone who is willing to stop the violence and put an end to the massacre? So yeah, it's an open-ended ending. They sort of, that you think there's finality to it, and there's not. So there is room for a sequel. Chuck said he hasn't gotten around to making that because I did ask him about it. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I think if you like Door 1 of the 5 Doors to Hell, and you enjoy really micro-budget films, and sort of like labor of love indie films by low-budget directors, you should check out Morbid. It's a fun flick, and it says here it was presented by Fits of Horror, which is a big group on Facebook that talks all about different horror movies. And as I said, just, you know, taper your expectations and realize what you're watching and purchasing. And it's just a fun little horror flick. You know, have a drink with your friends and watch it and get some chuckles out of the kills and the goofiness of it all. So thank you very much, Chuck Conry, for sending me this. I'm going to put a link down in the description for Chuck's YouTube channel and store page if he has one. And check out this and Door 1 of the 5 Doors to Hell. Thanks guys for watching. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Be good.